This is the third part of the Unit 2 test review. These three questions that are left are what I would consider the hardest questions on the review. And my recommendation is that you don't worry about practicing these questions until you have mastered all of the easy questions and the medium questions. These ones take a lot more time investment. You know, it might take you a good 20 minutes to learn how to do question 16, and it's worth the same amount as a question in the easy category that might take you, 1 minute to do. Okay, so I would just put these aside until you feel really comfortable with the rest of the questions, and then I would come and see if you could, work these out. So question number 16 says, find the volume and surface area of a sphere of radius 11 inches. Use pi equals 3.14, and the volume of a sphere of a radius r is, and they give you the formula for the volume of a sphere, and they also give you the formula for the surface area. So a sphere is a ball, right? It's a round, three-dimensional ball. The volume would be what you could put inside the ball. So if you could fill that ball up, that's what the volume would be. Notice that the degree of this term for volume is 3. That means your units will be cubed. They will be raised to the third power. So I always recommend that you do your substitutions using some parentheses. So will you get a different answer if you use pi on your calculator? You will, because they asked you to use 3.14, not the entirety of pi. I mean, it would be more correct technically to use the pi button, but that's not what the question is asking for. So make sure you use simply 3.14. And then my radius was 11, and that's to the third power. So you could actually type this in your calculator this way: 4 fraction 3, parenthesis 3.14, close parenthesis, parenthesis 11, raised to the third power. Or you could, do your power first and then multiply it all out, however you choose. The final answer is 5572, and they want us to round it to the nearest tenth, so 0.5, and those are cubic inches, because volume is three-dimensional. It's left to right, up and down, and front to back. Okay. The second part is the surface area, and they give us the formula. So I'm going to go 4. Pi is 3.14 in this problem, and then I have 11 squared. Again, you could type it in your calculator that way. Notice the degree of this term is the 2 power, so your units will be squared. The surface area would be like taking a ball and painting the outside of it. That outside, how much paint you use on that outside, is the surface area. So putting this into the calculator, I get 1519.8 if I round to the nearest tenth. And these are inches squared because it's an area. So let's take a look at these last two problems, 31 and 32. And I believe that these are pretty difficult for students when they first start learning them. Eventually, you get to where it's just old news, not a big deal. So the first thing to remember in a question like 31 is, if I have this 2 power, then that means I'm writing it twice and multiplying it. So now I have two binomials that I would use the FOIL method for. So the first two terms would be my f2 times 2 is 4, a times a is a squared. FOIL, F-O, O is outer. So these are my outside terms. They're on the outside, right? 2a times 5 is 10a. Then I would be my inside terms. 5 times 2a is 10a. And then my last two would be those two. 5 times 5 is 25. These happen to be like terms, so we want to make sure we combine them. Otherwise, it will not count your answer correct as being correct. So 4a squared plus 20a plus 25. There is another technique. Instead of the FOIL method, you can use the box method, and I will show you that on the next question. So question 32, they go ahead and give you the two binomials, and I'm going to show you the box method. Some people really like this. I think it's pretty cool. It kind of is a little bit easier on the brain. So I have a 5x and a minus 2, I have a 3x and a positive 7. So this box will be these two multiplied, so I get 15x squared. This box will be 3x times negative 2, which is negative 6x. This will be 7 times 5x, which is 35x, and this will be 7 times negative 2, which is negative 14. My two like terms are typically in this diagonal. So my answer will be 15x squared. 35 minus 6 is plus 29x, and then minus 14, and that should be my answer. This concludes the review for Math 980 Unit 2 test.